This is the eufy S1, and it is the first robot that actually let me forget about floors for days at a time. The biggest surprise is that the mop does not just smear water around. It actually scrubs and comes back clean, so I am not babysitting it or redoing work. I see this as a true all-in-one robot vacuum and mop for people like me who want clean floors without fiddling with settings or touching dirty parts every day. It suits a busy schedule, a home with pets, or a space where crumbs and coffee drips are a constant. I am not trying to replace a deep spring cleaning. I want a day-to-day floors that look and feel clean with almost no effort. That is exactly where this fits. The design matters more than I expected. The square body with smooth edges slides deeper along baseboards and gets into corners better than the usual round bots I have used. The finish looks like something I am fine leaving out in the living room. The profile is low enough to get under my couch and bed where dust loves to hide. The all-in-one station is bigger than a simple charging dock, and I had to give it a proper spot. Once I did, the size made sense because it holds clean water, dirty water, detergent, and a dust bag, and it needs the space to wash and dry the mop and empty the debris. The roller and the brush bar inside the robot have a smart detangling trick that actually works. I'm not stopping every few days to cut out pet hair. Setup took less than 15 minutes. I placed the station, filled the clean water tank, added detergent, and connected the robot to my wireless network through the mobile application. The application was straightforward, and the robot mapped my home in a single run. I made a few no-go zones, one under a desk with a spaghetti bowl of wires and one near a wobbly plant stand. I created maps for 2 floors and saved them, and the robot recognized where it was each time I moved it. Scheduling was simple. I had it vacuum the whole home in the morning and run a quick mop in the kitchen after dinner. The touch controls on the station are useful if my phone is not nearby. Responsiveness was consistent. When I sent it for a spot clean, it started within seconds and navigated to the right area without confusion. Cleaning performance is where I was ready to be disappointed, and I was not. The suction is rated at around 8,000 pascals, which sounds like a spec sheet number, but I felt it in daily use. I dumped a bowl of cereal and a handful of cracker crumbs in the kitchen and watched it clear the pile in one pass. On low pile rugs, it lifted pet hair that my old stick vacuum often left behind. On a thicker shag, it could still clean, but I had to slow the speed and let it do a second pass. The square front helps with edges along baseboards, and while there can be a thin trace of dust in the tightest inside corners, it is the best edge work I have seen from a robot. Noise is surprisingly low even at higher suction. I could take a work call in the next room without turning it off. The mopping system is the part that felt different to me. The HydroJet roller applies real pressure, close to 1 kilogram or a little over 2 pounds, and the station keeps the mop clean while it is working. There are 2 separate water tanks in the station, one for clean water with detergent and one for dirty water, so I never saw gray sludge getting dragged across the floor. I tested it by spilling coffee on tile, letting it dry completely, and sending the robot out. It rolled back with the spot gone and no sticky shadow left behind. Greasy marks by the stove needed a targeted spot mop with higher scrubbing, and it still lifted them without me touching a manual mop. When the mopping run finishes, the station washes the roller and then dries it with warm air, which keeps smells from building up. That is a big deal. I have owned robots that turned into a swamp after a week. Navigation makes the daily experience painless. The robot uses a camera, light-emitting diodes, and onboard artificial intelligence to recognize and avoid more than 100 types of household objects. In normal language, it can tell a shoe from a sock from a cord and steer around them. I intentionally left my dog's chew toy in the hallway, a phone charging cable under the coffee table, and a pair of socks by the entry. The robot saw all of it and kept moving. It did not drag the cord. It did not climb onto the sock. It did not shove the toy. Over a couple of weeks, it seemed to learn the trouble spots in my place and approach them more carefully. That means I'm not doing a cleanup ritual before sending the robot out. Real-world testing in my home brought out a few consistent patterns. Crumbs, coffee, and pet hair are gone in a single pass on hard floors. On low and medium rugs, One pass is enough most of the time, and a second pass makes it look like I just used a traditional vacuum. Sticky food under the dining table gets scrubbed away when the mop roller pressure is on, and I do not see streaks once the floor dries. The robot fits under my bed where dust bunnies thrive, and it actually brings that dust back, not just rearranges it. The application is light on unnecessary complexity. I can set zones, rooms, and schedules, and I can select vacuum only, mop only, or both in one run. I do wish there were more knobs for power users, like custom scrubbing patterns or more detailed mop lift behavior on rugs, but for me, the simplicity kept me from spending time inside settings menus. A typical day looks like this. I grab my mug, eat breakfast, and tap start in the application. The robot leaves the station, vacuums the living room, kitchen, and hallway, avoids my dog's bowls, and stops at the stairs without drama. It returns to the station, empties the dust bin into the bag, washes the mop roller, dries it, and refills its internal tank. In the evening after cooking, I send it for a focused mop in the kitchen, and it takes care of drips from the sink and splatters near the stove. I am not wringing out anything. I am not rinsing a bucket. Every few days I top up the clean water tank. Every couple of weeks I toss the dust bag. The odor control from the washing and drying cycle is real. My previous robot was fine for a month, and then I started to notice a stale smell. This one has been quiet on that front. There are a couple of compromises that I noticed. The all-in-one station is not small. I had to dedicate a corner to it and keep a bit of clearance on both sides so the robot can dock and undock without bumping anything. If space is tight, that is something to plan. On very thick carpets with long fibers, the robot works, but it does not pull deeply embedded grit the way a heavy upright vacuum can. That is true of most robots, but it is worth stating plainly. Edge cleaning is strong, but those tight inside corners might need an occasional manual touch. The application is friendly, though light on advanced options for those who want to tweak every last behavior. None of these are deal breakers for me, but they are part of the honest picture. Battery life has been solid. In my home, the robot runs for a bit more than 2 hours on a full charge and usually finishes the whole space in one go. If it runs low, it returns to the station, charges, and then resumes where it left off. Because it is quiet, I let it run during my workday without feeling like I am living inside a vacuum cleaner. Voice assistant support also works. I linked it to Amazon Alexa and to Google Home and tried a couple of commands. In practice, I mostly use the mobile application or the buttons on the station. A few touches make the experience smoother than past robots I have owned. The square design genuinely helps along baseboards. The detangling brush bar keeps hair from wrapping, which is huge in a pet home. The camera and artificial intelligence obstacle avoidance are more than marketing talk. They actually keep the robot moving instead of getting stuck and sending a notification for help. The self-washing and drying of the mop roller eliminates the gross part that usually turns people off from robot mops. The separation of clean and dirty water in the station is simple and effective. I come away feeling like the eufy S1 is for people who want clean floors with almost no thought. It is especially good for homes with pets, open floor plans with mixed hard floors and area rugs, and anyone who wants a reliable set-it-and-forget-it routine. If floor space is very limited for the station, or if carpets are very thick and you expect a deep manual vacuum level result, then it is worth considering those limits. For everything else, this has been the most hands-off daily cleaning experience I have had. It looks good, it navigates smartly, it keeps itself clean, and it picks up the messes that happen in real life. You can view detailed information about the eufy in the comments section. Thank you for watching.